Hey, how's it going, guys? Killer Cam Fit here, and today I'm going to be giving you a guide for 7.1.5 Enhancement Shaman. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So starting things off with the first tier of talents, we have Boulder Fist, Hot Hand, and Wind Song. Now typically, I would actually spec into Boulder Fist. It was winning out on this tier by far, but due to the recent nerfs, I'm actually going to be more inclined to spec into Wind Song, because Wind Song also received a buff as well, in the form of Rock Biter, increasing the amount of Maelstrom it generates. Now the only issue with Wind Song before really was that Rock Biter, when you spec'd into Wind Song, would become your default Maelstrom generator, and it was only generating 18 Maelstrom. Now, with that, it didn't work synergistically with Frostbrand Weapon. So you would have to do 2 globals in order for you to actually get Frostbrand Weapon out. Now, due to those changes, you can actually just do 1 Rock Biter and you can just get the balls rolling. Now, Wind Song is also going to increase the likelihood of you getting Stormbringer procs, and it most closely resembles something that we all freaking love as Enhancement Shaman, and that is Heroism. And guess what, guys? They stack. So you can use Wind Song in conjunction with Heroism for 65% weapon speed increase. I don't know why we didn't spec into this sooner, but definitely try it out. The amount of damage you do is insane, so you have to try that out. Now going on to the second tier, we have Pharaoh Lunge, and Pharaoh Lunge. That is literally the only thing that exists on this tier. Get Pharaoh Lunge, alright? It's going to function as our only real gap closer, and you can also use it defensively on a farther away target to get away from the enemy. Going on to the next tier, we have Lightning Surge Totem, Earth Grab Totem, and Voodoo Totem. Now, in my opinion, Lightning Surge Totem is going to be the best, but if you're playing with a teammate that you know that has an AoE stun as well, you could opt to use Earth Grab Totem. That way you can actually have something to get stealthers out of stealth. That's another great utility of that. Going into the next tier, we have Hailstrom and Ancestral Swiftness. Now, the issue with Hailstrom right now is that it just actually got nerfed, down from 32% weapon damage down to 21%, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And Ancestral Swiftness also received a slight nerf as well, down from 10% haste to 6%. Now, I'm still actually going to opt into Ancestral Swiftness because this ability, again, directly increases the likelihood of me getting Stormbringer procs. The faster you attack, the higher chance of you to get Stormbringer procs, and that's what this spec is really all about. It kind of sucks, but everything is centralized around you getting those procs. If you don't get those procs, you don't do damage, so you want to spec into talents that increase the chance of you getting those procs. Going into the next talent, we have Tempest, and Tempest. That is the only thing that exists on this tier. Because as I said before, Stormbringer is freaking awesome. So we want to have 2 of them. So get Tempest, alright? Going on to the next tier, we have Crashing Storms, Fury of Air, and Shundering. Shundering actually got a little buff. I'm actually really excited about it. It used to cost 60 Maelstrom. Now it only costs 20. That increases the utility greatly. A lot of times, my windshield would be off CD and I have no interrupts, right? Now with Shundering, that is going to function as a great interrupt, and you can also use it to disable any disengage type abilities. So for example, a hunter using disengage, you actually can Shunder him right before he does it, and it will actually cancel out his disengage. Same thing can be said for shamans when they use their little hurricane thingy. I can't remember what it's called. And same with the monk's roll ability. If a monk tries to roll, if you're Shundering at the right time, it will actually cancel out his roll ability. So definitely be mindful of that. Going on to the final tier, we have Earth Spike, Landslide, and Ascendance. Now, my issue with Ascendance is that it's not strong enough, honestly. The burst is great, but you definitely going to want the consistent pressure of landslide. So spec into landslide. Alright guys, so moving on to the first tier of PvP talents, we have Relentless, Adaptation, and Gladiator's Medallion. Now typically I would spec into Adaptation or Gladiator's Medallion, but if I was an Orc, I would definitely opt for Relentless because it does stack with the Orc racial, and seeing how most CC in Legion is actually stuns, it will definitely be in your best interest to spec into that if you're an Orc. Going on to the next tier, we have sparring, reinforced armor, and hardiness. I would definitely go with reinforced armor if you're versing mostly casters. Now, if you're versing mostly melee cleaves, you're definitely going to want to take sparring. On to the next tier, we have Sky Fury Totem, Counter Strike Totem, and Wind Fury Totem. Counter Strike Totem was actually recently nerfed in this patch. Now it directs the damage directly back to the damage dealer, as opposed to focusing all the incoming damage on the lowest health target. So that's a huge nerf. So definitely not going to be taking Counter Strike this time. Sorry, Counter Strike. Going to go into Wind Fury Totem. And Wind Fury Totem also received some changes. It now drops the totem directly at your feet, as opposed to you being able to choose where to drop it. So that's kind of a nerf, but I still think Wind Fury Totem is going to be a lot more helpful now than Counter Strike Totem, because it will also help you generate those Stormbringer procs. On to the next talent tier, we have Ethereal Form, Spectral Recovery, and Purifying Waters. Now, Purifying Waters is going to win out, in my opinion, if you're versing mostly casters, but for melee cleaves, especially in arenas, you're definitely going to want to take Ethereal Form. It's going to make you immune to all physical damage, so definitely use that. Now, Spectral Recovery, it's not really, I don't think it's cutting it, honestly. If you're in Ghostful form, you're not really doing any damage, and I really don't think it's worth it. Going on to the next talent here, we have Static Cling, Ride the Lightning, and Forked Lightning. In my opinion, Ride the Lightning wins out. Static Cling, you have to do 2 Stormbringers before it actually starts giving you that extra damage buff. And all they have to do is move 15 yards away from you, so it's not really worth it. So definitely Ride the Lightning. Forked Lightning does like what Ride the Lightning does, but just not as good. So you want to get the best thing, so get Ride the Lightning. Going on to the final tier, we have Shamanism, Heroism, and Blood Fury. So if you've noticed, those are all different names for saying Heroism. So we're definitely only going to spec into Heroism because it wins out by far. All these other talents are just not up to par. And yeah, definitely get Heroism. Alright guys, so that is that. Like, subscribe. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more Enhancement Shaman content, enhancement and fitness content. So if you're trying to get in shape this year, definitely give the channel a follow. Boom, have a good one guys.